Welcome to the city of the unwritten. A city that's given so much. A city of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. A city of makers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. A city of laughter, memories, and people who will welcome others in with a cup of heartwarming handmade coffee. A city of people, young and old, working together. People who explore, live, and grow together. But what makes this place special? Being listed year after year as one of the best places to raise a family. Maybe because we have a community recognized for its safe neighborhoods and revered for its low unemployment. A city where adventure is everywhere you look, where you can pioneer your own story. We've opened a new page to write on for the generations ahead. Welcome to Bismarck. Come write your story.
Daniel Young, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, amazing to have you here.
And welcome to the first virtual Million Cups. I'm Evan Anderson.
Marlo Anderson, how you doing? Whoa! Oh, I thought we did that twice.
Okay, let's try that.
There we go. The new North Dakota handshake right here, everybody. So
The elbow thing wasn't working because I've been using my elbow for everything these days.
mine is all wore out already from all the elbow shaking I've been doing. So excited to be here, everybody. Evan and I have the honor of introducing and being part of the first ever virtual 1 million cups coming out of Bismarck, North Dakota, but broadcasting to the entire state.
Yep, we're pretty excited about this,
We are.
and nobody was able to stop us from both getting on the stage. So this is also the first time that we've actually had two MCs. So we'll see how that
excited
goes.
about it,
Yeah,
yes,
we are.
yes.
And I think while we're talking about firsts, we had a conversation with Elon Musk yesterday, and have a one MC first to
We
announce
do.
here for everything.
And I also was talking to a 3D a house company that uses 3D printers to print houses last night
so
as
this
well.
announcement gets bigger.
So we have kind of an amazing announcement today.
All right. Drum roll, can we do that? No, sorry, I didn't prepare the
Yes,
tech guys
yes.
for this. So everybody in the studio audience today is going to get a free Tesla.
That's
So,
amazing, and
yeah,
also
yeah.
a 3D printed house.
To park it in
let-
front of.
Let's take a selfie
all the
with
people?
everybody. Evan, there's nobody in the audience.
Well, heck.
This is a one-time only thing too.
It's still, we made history.
We did.
Chalk it
We
up.
actually tried
Okay.
to give away a Tesla today or two. Anyway, so
All
let's
right.
get through our stuff.
Yeah, we got some housekeeping.
yes.
As you might imagine, it's a little strange. There's nobody here, but we're going to make the best of this. So welcome to the virtual edition, and we will start rolling through. We think we will start rolling through some slides.
There we go.
All right, so we're still going to ask that you, if you don't have the app, that you download it, check in on the 1 Million Cups app.
And you should check into your local 1 million cups, right? So if you're
point.
in Fargo, Grand Forks, Williston, wherever you're at today, check in with your local 1 million cups.
Good point. And a thank you to our sponsors. We've got a couple of pages worth of sponsors here in Bismarck. And I would guess we're going to get to see Fargo sponsors next week.
Yes, which will be great, yes.
So please thank these folks for helping us keep the lights on. All right. Don't really have a show of hands to see who's new here today, but we usually like to explain to any newcomers what is 1 million cups.
You know, if you're new to the broadcast, maybe just
put a
do a
shout
shout out in there saying this is the first time you've ever watched, because we like to do special things for our 1 million cups new people. So do that.
Rumor has it we have 55 people.
Very nice.
Already, so welcome. So yes, we are a weekly program. We put an entrepreneur or two entrepreneurs on this stage to tell us about their journey and share their ups and their downs and their sidewayses, and also allows us the opportunity to give them some feedback, share some contacts, and it's all intended to help our entrepreneurial community and our ecosystem over 1 million cups of coffee.
We had 10 today, cups of coffee here, yes.
Hashtag 1MCND. So I don't know, Marlo, you want to talk about how people can get their questions?
Yeah,
in here
so
today?
if you're watching us on Facebook, you can actually ask questions there. Lincoln is actually monitoring that. You can also hashtag 1MCND on Twitter, and we'll take your questions that way as well. So we have people monitoring those. Please ask your questions. We have a very interesting guest today, so you're going to love this.
Okay, so I guess we don't have community announcements today per se, but I know on the Facebook feed you're going to see some links to some community resources that might be able to help our small business partners cope with everything that's going on, and what resources are available to that.
Yeah, and you know, one of the reasons that we are actually holding this way is that there has probably in our lifetimes never been such a trying time for businesses. So we think it's important to have 1 million cups continue on, because this is kind of our gathering to share ideas, network, what have you, and it's important, I think, for us as a business community to continue to stay together.
Agreed. I think with that,
Let's do it.
let's bring our presenter up here. So today we've got Dakota Solar, thus the whole Tesla thing. You know, I thought that was a good fit. So we've got Charlie Rickets with Dakota Solar, and he's going to talk about his business, and I can't wait to see what he's got to say. Audience, please start thinking about questions along the way so that you can get those posted, and we'll be asking those on your behalf as soon as Charlie is finished. So, Charlie, come on up.
Yeah, let's give a virtual round of applause to Charlie. Come on up, Charlie.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got it. There we go. We're getting it down there.
That'd be easier with a bagpipe going, actually.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being such generous hosts. It's a really exciting time for me, and I'm really excited to be here. Anytime I have an opportunity to share more information about solar energy, I jump at that. And I got to share with you that I'm from North Dakota. I was as a little kid, I was in Valley City, and in 2014, I had a construction company, and business was good, but we were struggling a bit to scale because we were competing with the oil industry and trying to find good workers, and I was able to find enough business to stay centrally located. But I took a job in the oil industry, in the oil patch. A gasification plant had blown up, and they needed somebody to go up there and to reskin it. And it was an eye-opening experience for me. I spent several weeks up there working on that project, and the smell and the sound, everything that came along with that, it gave me some time to think and to really consider what it is that I was doing with my life. And I've got a little boy, he's at home watching this right now, and hi Harrison. He was on the way, and I had a real good friend of mine who had taken a position with a little known company at the time called Solar City. And I decided that I was gonna pack everything up, and we did, and I sold everything off, and I took this little boy with me and went down to Phoenix, Arizona, and I went to go work for Solar City as an energy advisor. And I learned everything there was to learn about the solar business. I learned that it's really no different 6 years ago than it is today. That the job of a good energy advisor is nothing more than driving around and meeting a bunch of cool people and eliminating a few preconceived notions. And that's exactly what we set out to do. And I did well. I had a real good book of business, and clients were coming to me through a referral base, which really built some value and credibility in what it is that I had seeked out to do. And for those of you who don't know, Solar City was the energy subsidiary of Tesla Motors at the time, and Elon was chairman of our board. And it really set me on a path to understanding that this is a mission, and it provided me a good opportunity to be able to take care of my family. But ultimately, what it did is it showed me that there is a different way, and that this different way is possible. In 2016, Tesla acquired Solar City, and therefore we all became Tesla employees by default. The name on the card. The business name on the card did change. Our 401k had changed. Our support network had changed, but the mission itself had not changed. And our mission was simple, and that was to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And that's what we set out to do. I was fortunate in 2017 to be promoted within the Tesla organization. And I found myself the senior man in Texas, in a very conservative market where I think we have, we're number 2 in oil exploration, and Texas is number 1. And I saw it as a great opportunity and a challenge that I look forward to. And so I moved to Texas, and I spent some time in Texas building out the solar market, and saw that we had found that same success in Texas that we did in Phoenix. And as life goes on, and as some of you who are from North Dakota know, that North Dakota is a great place to come home to. And so I moved back, and I moved to Bismarck about a year ago, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, but I started to explore some opportunities and had some opportunities presented to me. But one thing that I knew for sure is that that I had drank the Kool-Aid. I was all in on solar energy, and even though we had some challenges and some adversities here in our home state, I set out to bring solar energy back home here to North Dakota, and that is what we've done. You know, it's similar in Arizona as it would be here. We have these few preconceived notions, and I don't want to take a whole lot of time in discussing these preconceived notions, but I know that you have them because I deal with these on a day-to-day basis. I get asked at least 10 times a day, you know, how well does solar panels hold up in hail? What happens on cloudy days? How long does it take for your payback? And I have answers to all of those questions, and I don't want to be a mystery behind them, but I will just assure you that that the industry has made some amazing advancements in not only technology but in costs for those technologies. And you know, I appreciate the utility companies. I appreciate being able to go home and to turn my lights on and to know that I have power. To power my lives, and in my case personally, to power my mode of transportation as well. But I know that there is something that is going to be the most reliable and dependable source of power that the world has ever seen, and that is the sun. And I know today, economically, that the way that solar energy works, it is a very viable product. And I can assure you that it works very well here in North Dakota. Frankly, we're ranked 13th in the nation with respect to solar output. And you know, I grew up in a farming family. My grandfather, he's 92 years old, and he doesn't farm anymore, but we still have land. We've had land in our family in North Dakota since 1870. And I can assure you that those farmers rely on the sun just as much as my clients do for energy and ways to power their homes. You know, I'm humbled to be an integral part in bringing solar to our home and to the state of North Dakota. I have some challenges that I've faced. You know, having a construction company in the past, I understand the requirements in order to scale a business in the state of North Dakota. We have an abundance of opportunity for anyone who is looking for work. They can go and they can find work pretty easily, and that's something that I think we should all feel some gratitude for. As a small business owner who's trying to scale, I can tell you that I face these same adversities. And one thing that I know for sure, and one thing that I want folks today to be able to take away from all of this is that I know that this is bigger than me. I have looked at this from a few different lenses, and I have the ability to zoom out and to see this from a perspective that really removes me from the equation. And one thing that I will ask anyone who's watching, that if you have an interest in learning about solar energy, whether it be for your home or your business, or just your lives in general, reach out to me. I will be happy to answer the questions that you might have. But most importantly, and I really want to underscore this, that if you are an entrepreneur, or if you're business-minded, or if you're looking for something that you can get into that will fulfill your life, give you an honest living, and most importantly, contribute to something that will advance the future of humanity, let me know, and I will share with you all of the knowledge that I have with respect to solar energy, and I will help you create your own business so that you can go and start this. I'm not a one-man band. I have a wealth of support around me, and the last 6 years of knowledge that I have in learning about solar energy and building a market, I can tell you that there is absolutely no way that I can fulfill my goals on my own. And my goals are very simple. My goals are to accelerate North Dakota's transition to sustainable energy. You know, we've got a lot of talk right now, obviously, with some viruses, the coronavirus that has been making its way through the world. And one thing that we have not really maybe looked at too much because of this news that we're getting over the coronavirus is the fact that oil prices are finding themselves at an all-time low. And for any of us who have been in North Dakota long enough, we know the ups and downs of the oil industry and how those prices, global prices, can affect our home and what we do here in North Dakota. We are currently ranked last with respect to solar energy in the United States, and I want to see that change. I want to see that change drastically. I think if we strike quickly and efficiently, we can become a global or at least a national powerhouse with respect to renewable energy, and I want to see that. I want to see a lot of people benefit from solar energy, whether it be farmers who are securing revenue for a very long time in putting solar panels out on their farms. I want to see businesses save money and hedge themselves against rising utility rates. And I want homeowners to be able to take control of their power back and to be able to use that when appropriate to supply their own power. So, I'm not sure exactly what other message that I would like to convey today, other than I did give this a lot of thought, and I wanted to use this opportunity to really provide my wealth and my experience to anyone who has an interest in starting a new business, somebody who has an interest in learning more about solar energy. I live in Bismarck, and I have enough business to keep me occupied for a really long time, and I don't see this stopping. I really don't. I think that the timing is great. I think that what we've been able to accomplish in just a very short period of time on paper shows me that I'll have enough business for a lifetime. I'm confident that I'll be able to leave a legacy behind. My whys in doing this were initially because I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to scale my business here, and I was okay with getting to Arizona for a while and getting out of the cold weather and having a W-2 rather than being that business owner who hopes that all the bills are paid and then wrings out whatever profit may be left. I was okay with that, and I had no idea that I would come home 5.5 years later with the knowledge and the experience that I have with respect to solar energy, and to be able to share that. And that's exactly what I want to set out to do. I want to share my experience, my strength and my hope with respect to solar power and how it works, how it doesn't work, and to really see more businesses like me grow right here within our state. Because there's absolutely no way that I can do this on my own, and this is bigger than myself. I know this for a fact. We must set out to make this transition, or we will be left in the dark, and I just don't want to see that happen. My son, who again I said he's watching at home. He's a key part in why I get up every day and do what it is that I do, and having this experience, several years ago, working in a gasification plant and seeing the effects of that industry, and I very, very much appreciate the utility companies for keeping the lights on. But I think it's very crucial that we make transitions when appropriate, and I'm ready to do that, and I want to help others to do that as well. I will help offer my experience to anyone. If you're in the construction industry, if you're in the electrical trades, if you're a developer, if whatever the case is, if you can see that solar energy could be something that you want to add to your portfolio, I will give you what it is that I have for free, because I really do want to see this thing. I want to see us transfer over to more renewable energy. And I've looked at the economics behind it, and I can tell you that right now, solar energy is the most economic source of power that we have on planet Earth. As mentioned earlier, Elon, I used, obviously working for Tesla, I had spent some time really studying the man that I worked for, and received a few emails from him, and I would follow what he would do on a day-to-day basis. And I remember one time he was asked, Tesla they have an open source on all of their patents, and they keep a couple of things with respect to autopilot. and the power wall. There's a few components that they don't share, but for the most part, anything that Tesla creates, it's a open patent. Anybody can go in. So as we start to see this trend happening of more electric vehicles and reduced cost of solar energy, I will take my hat off to Elon and to Tesla as a team, because I think that they've created an integral part in that. And he was asked one time, why is that? Why do you have an open source on all of your patents? And he had shared that if we were on a boat and this boat was sinking, and I created a really cool bucket that was efficient and worked really well, I wouldn't hoard that bucket. I would share that bucket with the other people on this boat. And it's the same way that I feel about my industry and what I do right here at home, that I have knowledge. I have more knowledge with respect to solar energy than anybody else in this state. And I don't want to hold this. I don't want to contain this. I want to share this information. I'm not a selfish person. I want to see this thing. I want to see this thing unfold and for us to make this transformation to a renewable source of power. And I want us to see it. I want to see this done very quickly, because I don't think we have a lot of time. And I think when we start seeing oil prices finding that $30 a barrel, $20 a barrel, and we have this financial impact, I think this is just another reminder that for us to make this transition, we must move quickly. And so I'm very excited to be here. I hope that I was able to convey a message of what it is that I'm hoping to leave here with you today. And I'm excited to have questions brought to me, because I have all of this information inside of me, and given the opportunity, I like to share this information. So with that, I think I'm going to close my time here and open this up to questions. So thank you very much for allowing me to share with you today.
All right,
All
Charlie.
right. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. All right.
So I have a question right away, if that's okay.
Sure.
Oh, by the way, cheers. Cheers. I see you've upgraded from
It's the
coffee.
bagpipes.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
So a little Guinness going on there. Yep. So Charlie, we had a chance to talk a little bit beforehand. I found it fascinating. You actually live this life already here in North Dakota. You're using solar. You charge your Tesla using solar energy. Can you talk a little bit about the net credit and how that works? Because you kind of enlightened me a little bit there.
Sure. So each utility is different. We have two sets of utility companies in this state. We have investor-owned utilities. That would be, I won't name them by names, but we have some investor-owned utilities. And for the lion's share of our utility, it's provided by cooperative models. So we have utility co-ops, RECs. And each one is set out in their own way, in their own path, to create what's known as an interconnection agreement. And that is a document, the agreement that is put in place when you have your own generator and you want to connect that generator to the grid. What does that look like? What's the value of that power? When does that value realize? And in most cases around the state, we have what's known as net energy billing. And this is really important, because a lot of people don't think that we have this. I was actually asked immediately when I walked in if I had a Tesla Powerwall. And I can share with you that batteries are not a requirement in order to achieve the value of solar power. Net energy billing is very simple. Throughout a billing cycle, if you have excess power, so for example, you're out of town and the system is producing energy, that energy is going to go into your service panel first. It only knows that. So as that power goes into your service panel, it feeds whatever it is that you're needing. Once that service panel is full, once your service is full, then you have what's known as a bidirectional meter. And that bidirectional meter, it begins to turn in reverse. Almost consider it like it's a two-part funnel. Your house is the first part of that funnel, and when that is full, then your meter turns in reverse, and that excess power goes out to the grid. And when it goes out to the grid, it literally goes down the line and it feeds your nearest neighbor whatever it is that they're requiring. And the utility company, they buy that power back from you in a one-to-one credit. And it's measured in kilowatt hours. That's how power is measured. So if you sell or send 20 kilowatt hours of excess power through the line, you receive 20 kilowatt hours of credit. And so when you get home and you start firing up things for dinner, getting the kids ready for bed, you're drawing off of those credits before you buy any of that energy from the utility company. And in most cases, Marlo, to elaborate on that a little bit more, in most cases, what we see is that you will have excess power at the end of that billing cycle, usually from the months of April until about September. And then you'll end up buying a little bit of that energy required to live your day-to-day lives in the winter. And so it's just this blend. And we look at everything on an annual basis. Our system's design, we didn't come up with this. These designs are out there. They were actually established by the federal government years ago, and now they're available to anyone who wants them for a fee. You can design a system. I can design a system. I can pinpoint anywhere on planet Earth, and I can set that array. We call it, when you have more than one solar panel and you have a solar system, it's called an array. We can set that array at whatever pitch it's going to be, whether it's on the roof or on the ground, and it will show us in pinpoint accuracy, down to the kilowatt hour, exactly how much energy that system will produce each and every day, each and every year, and for at minimum 40, 50 years. So we know exactly where the sun will be. We know exactly where we will be on planet Earth. And once we pinpoint that and we set that pitch, we know exactly how much energy we'll be able to produce.
It's amazing. So
That net meter, that was my first question too,
Yeah,
and
you know,
obviously,
when I think about it,
I didn't realize.
I didn't either. I always thought that you bought, or that the power companies would buy the power back from you at maybe a reduced rate, like 3 cents a kilowatt hour or whatever. So you're going backwards. This actual one-to-one exchange is very powerful, in my opinion. So
Agreed.
All right, go ahead.
Do we have other questions? Yes, we got one right up front.
When we were talking earlier, you had mentioned, I think, federal tax credits in 2019. Could you tell us what's going on with those in 2020?
Sure, and I want to give a little background on this, because when I share with them that it has been reduced, they go, well, that's crazy. Why would they reduce it? Well, the 2006 federal tax credits were set out at 30%. That meant that anything that you spent to transition to solar energy, you would receive 30% of that cost back in a federal tax credit, a dollar for dollar federal tax credit. And that's not a subsidy. That's not money received by the U.S. government. That's your money that you're able to recover to help pay for and offset those costs of going solar. And so in 2006, they were set out for a 30% federal tax credit, and they stayed 30% until December 31st of 2019. This year, it's 26%, so there's been a 4% reduction in that federal tax credit. And then in the next year, it reduces to 22%. Now, those things are set in stone. I don't believe that they're going to go away, regardless of who's in the White House, but they may change. As we make transitions to who is in power, we may see those come back. But as sales pitchy as this sounds, I want to emphasize that the absolute best time to transition to solar energy is now, and I can tell you why. We have the lowest costs with respect to solar energy than we've ever seen. We've reached a zenith, and then you compound that with a tax credit that is on calendar, due to be reduced by an additional 4% next year. This is the absolute best time financially to make that switch to solar power.
You talk a little bit about the cost of solar, and something I've watched for decades, and the cost per kilowatt hour and the efficiencies of the panels have continued to improve. And from what you just said, it sounds like maybe that's starting to plateau a little bit. Do you feel, I think there's always been this, well, I'll wait till next year because the panels are going to be more efficient, they're going to be less expensive, those kinds of things. Could you elaborate a little bit on where we are on that curve?
Yeah, so there was I heard two things there, and I'll share the two separate answers to that question. One, cost of power per kilowatt hour. Most people don't pay attention to their power bills. They just pay it. It's one of those things that, you've never, until you go solar, you've never been able to move that to a fixed column, right? You just pay it. It's just a part of doing business. And I will share with you and I get my information from the Department of Energy, and you can vet this if you wish, but the cost of electricity has gone up on average 3.5% per year, compounded. So if you look at what the cost of energy was 20 years ago versus today, it's gone up exponential. And there's no controlling of that. There's no ability to hedge yourself against those changes. You can't pay in advance and get a discount. There's nothing you can do to stop the rising rate of electricity unless you go solar. And, technology, there are these cool little things that I see. Obviously, my news feed is filled with solar energy, right? So I see these things constantly being thrown at me. Bifacial solar modules is the newest and latest trend. Eventually there's probably going to be a company that can create a transparent window that supplies you with solar power, or a credit card size solar module you throw up on your roof and you've got all the power humanity would ever need. Yes, these things may take place, but at what cost? And so I live in the world of now, and right now the solar panels that we use are the most efficient that they've ever come out with, and they are at the lowest cost that they've ever been. And efficiency is a big thing with respect to solar power. Everybody talks about the efficiency of a solar panel, and all they're basically stating when they talk about the efficiency is how much power can you get out of a footprint. And right now, efficiency is so I'm going to blow your mind here, okay? So efficiency is based on a temperature rating, okay? And in most cases, that temperature rating is 85 degrees. So as solar panels get warmer, they lose efficiency. So another feather in our cap as to why solar works very, very well here. It works very well because we don't have many days where we lose that efficiency. And it's not a drastic loss. I've had solar in Arizona on homes, and you still get great production. But pound for pound, the most efficient solar module is going to be in a cool, sunny day, which we have plenty of. And they're trying to figure out how to increase that efficiency. We don't need to worry about that. That's not something that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, because that's not our problem. That's a problem in places like Arizona or Southern California or Texas.
We have superconductivity some
We
days.
have perfect days for solar.
Well, and that's an interesting point, though, about efficiency of a footprint. How much are you generating from a footprint versus how much you can generate per dollar invested in the hardware. So I think those are both important. Assuming the footprint isn't important to a customer, then it's really how much am I having to invest to get a certain amount of output.
Yep. Well, I want to talk on that a little bit, the investment side of it, right? How much have you spent on power over the last 25 years? Yeah, a lot. We all have. And when you compare that number and you look at the cost associated with switching to solar, it's really hard to compare the two. Because on one side, you have a volatile cost of electricity that we have no control over. And on the other side, you're not buying the energy. You're buying the power station that supplies you with that energy for an infinite amount of time, Some of the things that we've been able to take advantage of with respect to the technology and the advances is that all of our products that we offer have a 25-year warranty. That's a 25-year performance guarantee. We know on paper exactly how much that system will produce each and every year for at minimum 25 years. That's a long time. And when you stack that to the cost of energy that's been associated with power from the utility company, I won't take up too much of your time talking about this, but it's called the levelized cost of energy. And that's, in a nutshell, how much energy will that system produce on paper, and how much will it cost me net? And we have found in North Dakota that price, depending on certain variables, will range anywhere from 5 to 6 cents a kilowatt hour. Now compare that to your current utility bill, and you tell me whether or not solar is a good investment or not.
So we are one of the lowest price in the country at 8.1 cents average. So even at the lowest in the country, you're coming in at less than that.
Absolutely.
Which is amazing. So
absolutely.
We're geeking out too much. Yes. So we need to turn this. We have lots of, unfortunately, we would take all of your time talking about solar, but I know we have lots of questions. Hashtag 1MCND if you're on Twitter, and or just ask questions on Facebook. Go ahead, Lakin.
Yeah, this one comes to us from Facebook. Can the average homeowner expect to eliminate their electrical bill with solar energy?
The average homeowner eliminate their electric bill? Yes, anything is doable, right? I did this as a study for myself because I think big. And I will tell you that in using today's solar modules, if we had 40 sections of ag land, and we deployed solar power, we would have enough to supply the entire state with all of its energy needs.
That's pretty incredible. What about like a community? You know, you're in a housing association or something. Can you collaborate on something?
Definitely, and I think it's a no-brainer for developers. They should be looking at this. And there's a lot of different ways to look at the benefit of solar power. And I'll give you just one example. If you are developing a neighborhood, for example, or let's say something's going on and there's a master plan community in the works, think about just something as simple as the lights that are required along the streets, right? You have to dig up, you have to bury lines so there's infrastructure. You have to tap those lines into a utility, and then you have to buy that power. When you go solar and you have solar lights, you don't have any of that. You have no lines, zero infrastructure. You just simply pour your concrete foundation, put your light up, and wait for the sun to take care of the rest.
Nice.
It's pretty amazing.
think
Another
we're gonna-
question.
Yeah. We continue to hear the necessity of coal and gas generation because the sun doesn't always shine, nor the wind always blow. How does solar keep the energy grid full?
So that's a very good question. And I think no matter what I do or say, we are going to see a shift away from fossil fuel energy. That's beyond us, right? We're beyond that. We have a dependency towards fossil fuel energy, and it is a requirement in order for us to keep and maintain those lights. I think this is done in phases. And right now, solar energy, as we've talked about, it's a no-brainer. Storage, that's the difference in how do we keep the lights on in the evening, right? Whether it be wind generation, hydro, solar, there's various forms of renewable energy, and that's clearly my space is renewable energy. But storage, as we see this unfold and we see the prices of storage and the technology continue to advance, we will begin to see this shift where you can take this solar power and you can store it on site, and then you can release that power on demand. And for anybody who has any interest to know if what I'm saying is real or if I'm just a kook, I would point you to Australia. On a gamble, Elon Musk had made a bet that he could get the entire western side of Australia relying on wind, solar, and battery, and he did it in less than 100 days. And it's been going on now for a couple of years, and the numbers have come back, and they're way more attractive than they actually at first anticipated. So not only does it work, but it's been proven, and the economics are behind it.
And he did that with like a municipal-sized battery array, basically. And it's nice to hear that even after some time in on that it's doing well. Because I think that if that component were in place, I think a lot of what you're saying kind of just clicks.
It is in place, right? It is in place. We don't see this on a day-to-day basis, but it is. It's there and it works. You know, there's islands in Hawaii that are 100% renewable. And the cost associated with them to get their fuel is very expensive, or was very expensive. So it made sense economically. Well, all we have to do is sit back and wait. And as those prices of fossil fuel energy continue to increase, then that's who we compete with, right? I compete with fossil fuel energy. So their prices go up. And my prices have come down. So now we're kind of at that point where in most cases we're par or even below the cost of fossil fuel energy.
Could you email Elon and get one of these batteries right now? I mean, is it? Well, you said it's available. I mean, how available is it?
Yeah, it's available. We have some projects in the works where we'll be working on. I'm a Tesla certified Powerwall installer, so we'll be working on some projects on a commercial scale, some manufacturing facilities that will be using the mid-grade. We call it. It's called the Power Pack. And it's really amazing what those batteries can do. And I don't want to talk too much about batteries because I'll blow your mind, but what the ability for those to control that power, to offset that power, to offset demand. You know, if you're a business owner and if you have a business and you pay a demand rate on electricity, call me. I will share with you some really cool information. With or without solar power, you can actually store power, buying that energy from the utility company at night, and then use that stored energy to offset your demand rate. And we have a cost of 8.1 cents on average, but when you mix in there the cost of a demand rate, that cost is exponential.
I saw that in a business that I owned, that demand rate is based on a peak use, and it was ridiculous. It was super high. I think we got another question.
We recognize that there will be Recognizing technology is rapidly advancing in all industries, often required increased electric needs, i.e. electric cars and tractors. Are there scalable options which can be increased as technologies advance?
Yes, that's a very good question. And I will tell you that the way that we install our products, we install them for scale. So we use what's known as a microinverter. So that power that the sun creates, it's known as DC power, and then it's converted into AC power, which is what powers up our homes. And so our setups, the way that we have them, we use a microinverter. So each module is converted at the module. And so we can scale that, and we build our systems so that they can be scaled. So if anyone has any need for electricity today and they think to themselves, we might buy an electric vehicle down the road, what do we do then? Just call us, and we will add a few more solar panels, and you can power your transportation with that. And it is true. I mean, we're seeing now with cryptocurrency and electric vehicles, just to name two, that we will begin to see more need for electricity. Demand for electricity is going to go through the roof. And there's absolutely nothing we can do to stop that, but we can mitigate some of that reliance on fossil fuel energy, and we can take some of that control back with solar power.
And there are other business opportunities with this too. So I always talk about Yerma, maybe it's Yermo, California. It's like the halfway point between Las Vegas and LA, okay? There was a fueling stop there, $6 a gallon for gas or whatever. It was an above tank thing. You'd swing in there if you needed 2 gallons of gas to make it one way or the other, right? This is what this place was. So a couple of years ago, Tesla put a couple charging stations there. And then they added a couple more and a couple more. There's like 50 charging stations there now. There's a solar field off to the side that powers those charging stations. And that fuel stop now is the world's largest candy store, has sushi, has 800-degree pizza in it. It's amazing. This thing was a hole in the wall, and now this thing has exploded because it takes a half hour for people to charge their cars there, so they have an active audience of people to come in and shop in this place. It's packed all the time, all the time. So this thing, actually, what you're talking about, actually spins up other potential business opportunities. So just wanted to throw that out. Another question online? Okay, Johnny, I know you have another one.
Okay, this one is probably silly, but you know, with our snow loads in the winter, I think people are sometimes concerned that their solar panels are going to get covered. So do you recommend like a roof installation versus ground? Do you do ground because you can take care of those issues? Or, you know, if you could just talk a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah, that's a good point. And I will tell you that, you know, we'd begun to break ground in the city of Bismarck, right? And so as we're working through some of the nuances, and every jurisdiction is a little different and has their own requirements. One of them that the city of Bismarck has, the building inspectors have asked that we provide load calculations because we are adding additional weight to the roof of a house, and we get a lot of snow here. So in knowing that our systems are engineered and they're designed, we know these numbers. And I'll tell you, it's pretty mind-blowing to think that the way that these systems are designed and the way that we install them on a roof is that weight is evenly distributed amongst the trusses. So it adds about less than 2 pounds per square foot of additional weight. And I have somebody that I know who means a lot to me, and they have solar here in town. They have a bank, and they have solar on some of their branches, most of their branches, and they're working towards all of them. And we were sitting down having dinner, and he was sharing with me that he prefers, or his neighbor prefers, that they're on the ground, because if there is ever snow, he can just go and wipe them off. And what Craig was saying was that it was a challenge for him because it's up on his roof and he has to wait that day or two for that snow to melt, right? Well, I can tell you that the sun is the sun's UVs, the modules, they're designed to attract the sun's UV. So they don't heat up necessarily, but they're designed to capture the sun's UV. So they do warm up some. And snow does tend to slide off them very quickly. It's not something like your composition shingle roof where they will just sit there and accumulate. But as a joke, and I've done this, I did this as a joke, but I've included this now, that we include a snow rake with all rooftop solar installations that we do. I haven't white labeled them or anything, but that's probably another business opportunity, Marlo, that I could come up with. But we do it as a joke, just so that if people choose to, that they can go out there and they can rake these things off. They're strong. I mean, these modules are strong. They can take a beating. You know, when we're installing them, you know, it's just they're designed to withstand some degree of getting banged up, if you will, right? They're impenetrable to hail. They're not gonna get blasted up by hail. I know that's a question that people always have, but it is a very good question. Yep.
So we're running up against the clock. We do have one last question here.
Our state has become dependent on oil and oil taxes. What pushback have you experienced from oil companies and state representatives?
So I have stayed away from politics. I really don't. I don't care much about how people vote. I think. So the utility company is going to be one of the largest consumers of solar power before it's over with, right? Like, they have to make that transition too, right? And I'm not here to shut things down. That's not my goal. I'm just here to help us become part of a transition team. And being from North Dakota, I will say that we are a little behind the times in some degree, and it's time for us to get out of the darkness and move in towards that renewable energy space. Wind is a good component. I appreciate wind, but it doesn't blow all the time. It's expensive. It requires a heavy amount of infrastructure, and so I know through some of my work with some of I sit on an advisory council with Bismarck State College. And so I sit at a table with a bunch of folks from the other energy industries. And I will tell you that no matter what I do or say, they are going to make that transition to solar power. Basin Electric is a prime example of this. They have just entered into a power purchase agreement to buy solar power for the very first time. And they are doing so at a very fast rate, and they will continue to do so regardless of what we do. Yep.
All right, so we're wrapping up here. If you love this, everybody, hit your love button on Facebook streaming there, because we want to know if you want us to continue doing this or not. Next week, we're moving to Fargo. Brady Nash with BNG is going to be joining us. He's going to be talking about entrepreneurial opportunities, point of sale systems, card processing, that type of thing. You want the last question?
I think I'm going to put the last question on a front row member here.
Okay.
All right, we always ask the same question. I'm going to have to spin a little bit today, I think, though. We usually ask, what can we as a Bismarck-Mandan 1 million cups community do for you? But I'm going to broaden that. What can we as a North Dakota 1 million cups community do to help you succeed in your mission?
To help me succeed in my mission would be to help others to succeed in theirs. And what I would ask for, and what I'm encouraged by, is that anyone who has an interest in learning about solar energy, not only for their own uses, but to create a business, reach out to me. I will be happy to give you all of the knowledge and the information that I have. As I mentioned previously, I cannot do this by myself. And you know, I have an amazing team. And you know, Heidi and I, we speak about this all the time, that we just need to find more people who want to make that transition. And there's an abundance of opportunity. This is an untapped market. I'm not a selfish individual. I will be just fine, but I want to see other people like myself starting solar businesses in our state. Listen, if I don't do it, if we don't do it, there's going to be folks that come in from other places that are already well ahead of us on this curve that are going to come in and they're going to do this. That's nonsense. We have all of the means necessary to make this a possibility right here in our backyard, and I want to see this done by North Dakotans for North Dakotans.
Wow, thank you. Well, I'd like to thank everybody that's out in our virtual audience today for joining us. As always, if you would like to present, go out to the 1 Million Cups website, apply to present, and we will take a look at that application and hopefully welcome you on our stage. Watch our Facebook page to see how to join next week, where we will be joining Fargo's presentation. And with that, have a good week.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, wait.
Thank you.